Good morning, year one, and welcome to day 3 of our work on fractions. So today we are going to be having another go at recognizing halves and quarters of quantities. Now we've done halves before, but we haven't done quarters, so this is going to be very exciting. But for our starter, we've got some shapes to revise from yesterday. So here it is, and what you need to do is tell your grown-up which ones of these are halves, and which ones of these are quarters. And when you're ready, we'll go through the answers. Okay, so welcome back, year one. So let's see which ones of these are halves and which ones of these are quarters. So this first one is 1 part out of 4, so it's going to be a quarter. Next one, 1 part out of 2, so that's a half. Now this is 2 parts out of 4. So is that a half or a quarter? Well, it's actually a half because half of it is shaded. That was quite tricky. This next one is a quarter, 1 part out of 4. This next one's 1 part out of 2, so that's a half. This is 1 part out of 4. This one's 1 part out of 4, and this is 1 part out of 4. So when sometimes you have to look at how many parts it looks like and whether it can be folded and whether it fits. But well done, I bet you got all of those right. And now let's have a look at what we're doing today. So we're going to revise what a quarter and a half is, and then we're going to be looking at how we can split numbers into halves and quarters. So very quickly, tell your grown-up what a half is. And if you can write what it looks like, even better. So a half looks like this. It's 1 out of 2, and it's 1 out of 2, and it's got to be equal. So I'm sorry, that's not drawn perfectly, but in principle, that is a half. So what's a quarter? Again, tell your grown-up. Brilliant. So a quarter is 1 part out of 4, and it looks like something like this, where you'd have 1 section shaded in. Okay. So, okay, there are 4 boys. Half of them want to play hockey. How many want to play? So a half is 1 in 2. Now, if you remember, we have done halves of this before using our sorting grid, and we've done them for starters. Okay, so our first step is going to be putting counters on each one of them. So let's just make sure how many we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it starts looking like the kind of problems we've been doing before for finding halves of quantities. What we need to do is put half the counters on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many boys want to play hockey? This section here, these 2 here want to play hockey, and these 2 here don't want to play hockey. So the answer would be 2. Now, that's how it applies, but what you're going to be doing today is you're going to be using a grid. So what you're going to do is you are going to roll a die, you're going to throw something onto the grid. The grid's on the next sheet. And then your grown-up is going to tell you whether you should halve or quarter it. Grown-ups, so you're aware, the green numbers can be quartered, the yellow numbers can't. And if you can, discuss with your child why that's the case. If you want the easier grid, it's this one up the top corner, the white one, and they can all be quartered or halved. So let's throw our counter. It's rolling, it's rolling, it's rolling. Where's it going to land? It's landed here. Now, I am going to say I want to quarter this, so we're going to find a quarter of 14. Now, this is where it gets exciting. Sorry, half of 14. I think we can do half. Half of 14. Okay, so this is where it gets exciting. We now can use coin. We now use these. So we're going to use this dividing grid here. Let's bring it back. It's sneaked off. And what we need to do is we need to put out 14, dividing them into both sides. So me? 1, next one 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now you've done that before, so let's count how many are in each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in one side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the other side. So the answer is going to be 7. So half of 14 is 7. Now we're going to roll it again. Throw it. Where's it going to land? It's landed on 12. And this time we're going to do a quarter. Now, can you point to the shape that we would use for finding a quarter? That's right, it's the one that's divided into 4, and we're interested in how many go into one section. So this time we're going to count, and we're going to put 1 in each section until we run out and counters till we reach 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So how much is a quarter? It's 1, 2, 3, and we'll just make sure that's right, because it's 1, 2, 3 there as well. 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there. So that is how you find a half or a quarter. And you can play on either of these grids, and you can use the dividing. And I want you to think about, as a bit of a challenge, if you were to land on the yellow numbers, what must you do to them? If you land on the green numbers, can you do 2 things to them? And that is the end of today's lesson. There is a quick plenary at the end, and if you want to see that, start the video again in just a moment. Okay, so the plenary is how could you split these shapes into quarters? You can tell you're grown up, and I'm going to show you some of the methods. Okay, when you're ready, here we go. So you can quarter this shape, but you have to do it like this, because those would be equal shapes. If you were to do it like this, what would be wrong with that? Well, you're right. This shape is smaller than this shape, and smaller than that, and those 2 shapes are the same size. What about this next one? This one's easier. You can do it this way, assuming you draw it accurately. That's 4 sections. Or you can do it the more conventional way, dividing it like this. And if you really wanted to show off, you could also divide it diagonally from the from the corners. That's rubbish. We'll try that again. One corner to the other corner, one corner to the other corner, and that's 4 equal sections as well. Now this last one is probably the trickiest. In reality, you would actually have to do it into slices, a bit like a sausage roll. And you'd end up with 4 curved slices like that. That's pretty much the only way you can divide that into 4. Okay, and that is the end of today's lesson.